They took her badge, her laptop, and walked her out of the building before lunch. No one said a word. No one looked her in the eye. It happened fast, like they wanted it to. HR, security, legal, they moved like a SWAT team. Olivia James, our senior project manager and my closest peer at Dunwell Consulting, was gone in less than 10 minutes. The email came 2 hours later. Subject: personnel change. Effective immediately, Olivia James is no longer with the company. Please redirect all inquiries related to the Westbridge account to Matthew Crane. That's me. The Westbridge account wasn't just any project, it was the most profitable contract in our portfolio. And with Olivia out, the top spot suddenly had a vacancy. That afternoon, my manager pulled me into his office. Big smile, firm handshake. "You've earned this, Matt. You've been dependable, clean, drama-free. We need that right now." I nodded, said thank you, tried to look grateful, but inside I was spinning because I didn't know what Olivia had done. Not really. Rumors were flying, sure. Misuse of funds, falsified invoices, maybe even leaking client data, but none of it felt real. And we'd worked side by side for over 2 years. She was sharp, tough, unshakable, the kind of person who played by the book even when no one was looking. That's what scared me most, because if she could fall that hard, that fast, maybe none of us were safe. Still, I took the office, took the raise, took the team she built from the ground up, and for a while, I told myself it was the right thing. She made her choices. I just stepped in to clean up the mess. But that version of the story didn't last. It unraveled 2 months later. I was reviewing archived emails tied to the Westbridge account, trying to trace a vendor timeline Olivia had supposedly fumbled. Her mistake was the justification behind her termination. I opened a folder labeled Q1 payment logs, expecting messy spreadsheets or missing documentation. What I found instead were PDFs, emails, bank receipts, and a document marked confidential submitted to finance April 3rd. I opened it, and everything stopped. Olivia had caught the problem herself. Weeks before the internal audit, she'd flagged an overpayment to a vendor called Hillstone Partners, which we later found out had double billed us for $73,000. She didn't just catch it, she documented it, escalated it, and copied 2 senior managers. One of them was my boss, and they buried it. A week later, Olivia was gone. My stomach twisted. I went back through old messages, cross-referenced dates, read every line twice. It all lined up. She hadn't committed fraud, she'd exposed it, and for that, they framed her. I don't know how long I sat there just staring at the screen. Could have been 5 minutes, could have been 50. All I knew was this: she didn't ruin the company ruined her, and I got promoted for letting it happen. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Olivia. The look on her face when HR walked her out, the confusion she tried to hide behind that calm professional mask. And now I knew why. She wasn't guilty. She was blindsided, and I was too much of a coward to question it. I kept telling myself there had to be more. Maybe I was misunderstanding the files. Maybe the dates were off. Maybe she did something else wrong that I hadn't seen yet. So, the next morning, I came in early and started digging deeper. By 8:30 a.m., I'd already broken 3 company policies. I accessed the restricted archive from the shared finance drive using an old credentials list I wasn't supposed to have. I went through chain of custody documents, expense reports, and internal memos. Most of them were harmless, until I found an email chain between my boss, Dan, and the CFO. Subject: Westbridge billing irregularities. From Dan Keller to CFO office date, April 5th. Olivia has been pushing on this overpayment issue. She's right about the discrepancy, but she's been aggressive with finance and wants to involve legal. It's better to handle this quietly. If she keeps escalating, she could cause a PR problem. Then another email a week later. Proceeding with termination. We can't risk an internal investigation right now, especially with the new client renewals pending. Frame it as a compliance breach. Matthew Crane is ready to step in. There it was. Right there. My name. In black and white. They'd planned it. They'd decided who'd take her place before she was even fired. And I, the obedient, hard-working, clean guy, was their perfect replacement. I leaned back in my chair and just stared at the ceiling. The air felt thin. My stomach twisted like I'd swallowed something sharp. I thought about calling her, But what would I even say? Hey, Olivia, turns out you were right, and I got a promotion out of your firing. Instead, I saved the files to a flash drive and slipped it into my pocket. At lunch, I went outside and sat on the bench across from the building, watching people come and go. It hit me then how many of them probably had no idea how easily their lives could be rewritten with a single email. One rumor, one decision made behind closed doors. I wanted to do something, anything, to fix it, but I also knew what would happen if I did. Whistleblowers don't survive at Dunwell. They disappear, quietly. And for the first time, I understood why Olivia hadn't backed down. She was right. She'd fought for the truth. And I'd done nothing. That night, I opened my LinkedIn messages. There was one sitting there from her, dated the day after she got fired. I must have missed it back then, or maybe I hadn't wanted to see it. I know you probably think I did something wrong. I didn't. But if you ever see the truth, don't look away. Please. That one line hit harder than anything. She knew this day would come. And she knew me. Knew that I'd eventually stumble on to what really happened and be forced to face what I'd allowed. I shut my laptop, turned off the lights, and sat there in the dark for a long time. The guilt wasn't just in my head anymore. It was sitting across from me, watching me breathe, daring me to make it right. And I realized something. The real test of character doesn't happen when you're climbing the ladder. It happens when you realize the ladder's built on someone else's back. I kept waiting for someone to knock on my door, for HR to call me in, for Dan to pull me aside, for someone, anyone, to notice that I'd accessed files I wasn't supposed to see, that I was asking questions I wasn't supposed to ask. But no one did, because at Dunwell, silence wasn't suspicious. It was rewarded. And the deeper I went, the more I understood that Olivia's firing wasn't an isolated case. It was a pattern. Over the past 3 years, 5 employees had been let go under compliance-related circumstances. Every time the reasoning was vague. Every time someone conveniently stepped into their role within hours. Every time the new person just so happened to be someone loyal, quiet, or too grateful to ask questions, just like me. I stopped eating lunch with the team, stopped accepting compliments. Every time someone congratulated me on how seamless the transition had been, it made my skin crawl. But it wasn't until I ran into Olivia's younger sister that things truly came undone. It was completely by chance, a Saturday morning at the coffee shop near my apartment. I was in line, half asleep, when I heard someone behind me say, "Matt?" I turned. It took me a second to place her. Rachel James. Mid-20s, same sharp eyes as Olivia. I hadn't seen her since Olivia's last birthday party, back when everything was still, normal. "Hey," I said, startled. "Wow, Rachel, it's been a while." "Yeah," she said flatly. "It has." I tried to smile, but she didn't smile back. "You still at Dunwell?" she asked. I nodded. Her mouth tightened. "Must be nice, after everything." I opened my mouth to explain, but she cut me off. "She's still trying to rebuild, you know," she said. "After what your company did, after what you didn't do. Rachel, she's working 2 jobs," she went on. One at a nonprofit, one at some temp agency, trying to clear her name, because no one else would, because no one with a voice did. I stood there, heat rising in my face. "I didn't know." "No," she snapped. "But now you do. So what are you going to do about it?" Then she left, didn't wait for a response. Just walked out the door, leaving me holding a half-finished apology and a coffee I suddenly didn't want. That night, I emailed Olivia. I rewrote the draft 6 times, deleted half the truth, then rewrote it again. Finally, I sent this. Subject: I owe you more than an apology. Olivia, I should have reached out sooner. I found the files, the emails. I know what they did. I know you didn't deserve any of it. You were right, and I didn't speak up. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I'm trying to find a way to make this right. If you want to talk, or if there's anything I can do to help clear your name, I'm ready. I'm sorry. Truly. Matt. She didn't respond that night, not the next day either, but 2 days later, I got a reply. I knew you'd find it eventually. Now let's see if you have the guts to do something about it. That was all she wrote. No anger, no comfort, just a challenge, and I knew exactly what it meant. It wasn't enough to say I was sorry. It wasn't even enough to believe her now. If I wanted to make this right, I had to burn the very ladder I'd climbed. The moment I hit send on that reply to Olivia, the one where I told her I was ready to do something, the decision stopped being theoretical. It became real, tangible, heavy. I couldn't unknow the truth, couldn't unsee the emails, couldn't pretend I'd earned my title on merit anymore, and I couldn't live another day benefiting from someone else's silence. So I made a list. It started simple. Collect all internal documentation tied to Olivia's termination record, a personal statement, contact a third-party employment lawyer, forward everything anonymously to Dunwell's ethics hotline, and 2 journalists I trusted from my grad school days. Resign. But nothing about it felt simple. Every step came with risk. Financial, professional, personal. I'd spent the past 6 years building a reputation as a dependable, low-drama guy, the guy who never rocked the boat, who kept his head down and delivered, and now I was about to blow that reputation to pieces. The thing that surprised me most? How calm I was about it. I didn't feel like I was setting the company on fire. I felt like I was finally stepping out of a room that had been filled with gas fumes for years. I sent the evidence packet to the ethics hotline first, under a burner email, then the journalists, then the lawyer. I gave them everything. The audit reports, the buried emails, the chain that showed Olivia had tried to stop the fraud and was punished for it. I didn't include her contact information. I let her decide if she wanted to speak. Then I walked into Dan's office with a printed resignation letter. He barely looked up. "Problems at home?" he asked, skimming the letter. "You sure you want to do this?" "I'm sure," I said. He smirked. "Guilt isn't a great reason to throw away your future, Matt." I met his eyes. "Neither is fraud." His smirk faded. I turned and walked out. By the time I got back to my apartment, the journalist I'd emailed, Karen Lau from the Ledger, had already responded. She wanted to talk. On the record. I said yes. The story broke a week later. Whistleblower reveals retaliation, fraud at Dunwell Consulting. It hit the business blogs first, then the major outlets. By week's end, the CEO had released a statement. Internal investigation underway. Misconduct not reflective of company values. The usual corporate song and dance. Dan was suspended. The CFO quietly retired. Olivia's name was cleared in the follow-up report. Quietly, no headline, no apology. But the word exonerated was there, and that mattered. She emailed me again a few days later. "You did it. Thank you. We'll never be what we were, but I respect what you've become." That was all she wrote. It was more than I deserved. Now, months later, I work freelance. Smaller contracts, less money, no corner office, no title under my name. But I sleep better. Some nights, I still think about how easily I could have ignored it. Could have told myself it wasn't my fight. Could have kept the title and the lie. But I didn't, because guilt can be a prison or a compass. And I chose to follow it. Not to be a hero, just to stop being a coward.